The Country Fire Authority, the CFA, is a primarily volunteer fire service that serves most of Victoria. According to their website, they have over 51,000 volunteers, compared to around 1,000 paid staff. For over a century, rural Victorians have viewed fire management as a civic duty and a labour of love. Naturally, the CFA participates in planned burning, which they describe as the controlled use of fire under carefully managed conditions to reduce fuels such as dead wood, leaf litter, bark and shrubs to minimise the impact and spread of bushfire. Sounds reasonable. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, as they say. According to the Victoria Auditor-General's office report, Reducing Bushfire Risks, noting this is from 2020, the latest audit of its kind they have published, the CFA estimates it spends around $300 per hectare for these burns. So we could assume it's a bit more expensive now, but somewhere in that ballpark. Obviously, as the CFA is mostly volunteers, there are no labour costs to account for. Presumably, that $300 figure covers just the fuel and basic equipment required to perform the burns. The actual hard work is donated by the community, saving the taxpayer a fortune that, as we'll see, the government is more than happy to spend elsewhere. This is the CFA's latest annual report, 2024-25. It shows that volunteers completed 202 planned burns, covering a total of 4,774 hectares. That's a lot of land, and essentially free bushfire preparation. If we look at the Victorian Government's Bushfire Management Snapshot website, we can download all the latest figures. Under Fuel Management, if we zoom in, you can see that more than 114,000 hectares was treated with fuel management by Forest Fire Management Victoria, who are paid workers, and the CFA. This cost a grand total of $159.8 million. Doing the basic maths and accounting for the 4,700 hectares handled by the CFA volunteers, this works out to approximately $1,450 per hectare for the government's paid crews. Sure, it's more than the $300 for the volunteer CFA workers, but still, prevention is better than cure, right? But in the bushfire management snapshot, you may have noticed something else in the top right-hand corner: cultural burns. The government describes this as Aboriginal self-determination in cultural fire and bushfire management. For the uninitiated, a cultural burn is essentially a race-based burn, much like an Indian burn, except a lot more lucrative, and only people of a certain ancestry may perform one. According to the Australian Museum, cultural burning is a cultural fire practice used by First Nations people to improve the health of country and its people. It has been used for over 60,000 years to manage land, plants and animals. So obviously, cultural burning, much like the brave CFA volunteers, is essentially a labour of love, a civic duty, right? In that caring for country is of utmost importance to many Aboriginal people, so financial gain is certainly not the goal. Well, there's been some news recently that begs to differ, and thank you to the viewer who highlighted this. The Herald Sun and elsewhere reported, "Cultural burn costs under fire." Apparently, Victorian taxpayers have funded cultural burns at $28,000 per hectare, while CFA volunteers conduct similar work for just $300 per hectare. Caring for country, eh? It seems like Mother Nature rewards those who help. And by Mother Nature, I of course mean Victorian Premier Jacinta Allen, who seems to have a fascination with smoke, and who happily diverts taxpayers' dollars to government-sanctioned burners of the approved ancestry. They shall burn on the taxpayer dime. According to the report, 31 cultural burns were delivered in partnership. I'm not sure exactly how many hectares were involved, but I doubt it was anywhere near as many as the volunteer CFA's 4,700 hectares. Of course, they are already planning to do 211 more cultural burns at some point in the future, whenever that future might arrive. So we've got volunteers working for free out of the kindness of their hearts, costing around $300 a hectare. To be fair, some of these volunteers could well be Aboriginal people. I'm not trying to put people in boxes based on their ancestry. The government is already successfully doing that. Then we have government paid workers who do this for a living, which costs around $1,450 per hectare. I'm certainly not criticising them. Everyone's entitled to gainful employment, and that's what they chose to do. I think that's fine. And then we have cultural burners, which for some reason cost $28,000 per hectare. Now, I'm not saying all these cultural burners are getting paid well, but somebody is certainly receiving that taxpayer money. Perhaps I'm not comparing apples with apples here. Perhaps there's more to cultural burning than meets the eye, and I think I found the answer. On the World Wildlife Fund Australia website, they cover cultural burning. They quote Aboriginal elder and knowledge holder Warren Foster, who very succinctly states, "As we're burning country, we're healing it." So clearly there's some sort of mystical alchemy at play. I guess the easiest way to explain it is, imagine that you've injured your arm. You could go to the volunteer first aid tent and get some ice put on it for free, or you could go to a boutique specialist surgeon who costs $28,000 because you want the best medical treatment money can buy. So think of cultural burning in the same way. You're getting the best healing treatment for the country that your taxes can buy. You should actually thank your lucky stars that the Victorian government are spending your money so wisely.